Back in 2009, Orange City Schools was selected as one of 3 districts to be a part of a program with the Partnership of Next Generation Learning. That's now known as the Innovative Lab Network, ILN. As part of the ILN, we were selected because of our innovative practice and the things we were already doing in our district. So in continuing that great work, we have now, we're looking for additional funding sources, and so we applied for this Straight A grant with the State Department of Education. We received $750,000, and that has helped us with project-based learning. Project-based learning is an authentic way of providing education for students so that they can solve projects and really work on authentic, innovative practices. Project-based learning can be tailored for any age, any ability level, any skill level. So we have an advisory council right now with our grant that includes industry leaders, higher education faculty, and together with those partners and our staff, we look at what are some competencies and skills that our graduates need to really be successful in their future. Some of the things that we talk about are providing opportunities for our students to practice collaboration, cooperation, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. And project-based learning incorporates all of those skills. So STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And more recently, it's become STEAM because they've added art. So now it's STEAM. And some of the skills that you learn in engineering and math and science, looking at making hypothesis, going through design thinking process, all will benefit our curriculum and our students to provide them with those skills that we talked about earlier, the collaboration, the cooperation, the creativity, and critical thinking.
We can create like anything we want. We've 3D printed stuff like to go with our projects. I think it helps us learn since it's hands-on.
So I've made tanks in reading class for a World War II project. With that tank project, the tank that we made, we printed it 10 times, but it didn't work all those 10 times. So we had to keep figuring out and problem solving how to fix the design and make it so it did print successfully.
For instance, the Ellis Island project that I did, we know more about like the structure of it and where everything was instead of just a teacher telling us.
The lesson begins in the classroom and then it gets translated here in the Makerspace. Sometimes as a finale. Usually it's part of the learning process as well. The new technology really depends on their maturation and what they've had before. Even my second graders are starting to learn how to even do 3D design right now, whereas the 3, 4, and 5 could be on a totally different level. So depending on how the kid comes to us with their certain skill sets, we may have to assist them to help them either understand what they want to do with their objective or understand the new equipment they'll be using. Because the process of learning happens during the actual project making time, so they actually have to get what they have learned, whether it be math, whether it be measuring, whether it be spatial relations.
Makerspaces are a great opportunity for students to be able to tinker or utilize equipment. Over the years, the PTA and the Orange Foundation have been incredibly generous and supportive in trying to provide additional resources to students to get them familiar with what a makerspace could be within a library. We had Hour of Code last year, and lots of students participated in the lab in the library, and then they decided to take a class in AP Computer Science. For some students, they don't have a class schedule that permits them to take the kinds of classes that would create some creativity in them or let them pursue that in other ways.
TIES is the Teaching Institute for Excellence in STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. We have worked throughout our country, throughout the world, in creating STEM schools that have taught us all how to teach STEM and what learning STEM means for ourselves as educators, for students, and also as students who are going out to being part of the world and becoming part of the STEM professional community. More than 72% of the jobs in our country right now demand competencies in STEM. What happens when you have a lab that allows you to be working in a digital platform and then tinkering? And MIT, a couple of of decades ago came up with the Fab Lab.
We were very fortunate last year to have Mrs. Jan Morrison, who is a district grandparent as well as the CEO and president of TIES, which is Teaching Institute for Excellence in STEM, donate that experience to our schools. So for one full week, we had 2 different mobile Fab Labs here. We had some momentum trying to get something like this to be permanently here at Brady, and at the same time across the district, teachers were being trained in what's called Ed Leader 21. And so we used this momentum through these straight A grants that were available through the state to get the funding to not only bring the Fab Lab permanently to Brady, but to bring a makerspace to Moreland Hills and to bring more fabrication equipment up to the high school. We also were lucky enough to have it here on a staff development day for teachers in the district to get to use it, and for an evening for parents to come in with their children and actually do projects on some of the machines. And so we will have 3D printers, 3D scanners, laser cutters, vinyl cutters, a large CNC router, sewing machines, electronic stations, and embroidery machines. But the real opportunity is what are they doing in their classes to engage with those machines to improve their learning experience.
I learned a lot about circuits, and I'm soldering, and it was just a fun experience. I think I benefit from doing projects. It's really fun. It's better than a paper pencil or a big test on the computer. I like it better, and probably most people do, I think.
Project-based learning is a lot more attractive and fun instead of just sitting and listening to a lecture. So we found that the students were more engaged. That's one of the things that we want to do here at Orange City Schools, is bring more project-based learning opportunities for our children. Our future in the United States, or this global economy, deals with people working with each other, collaborating, relying on each other to be successful on their projects. So implementing project-based learning activities helps prepare students for a realistic, authentic learning experience, not just here at the high school, in college, but also in life. It's exciting to see the opportunity we have here with the Straight A grant to be able to allow us to implement more project-based activities, especially around the STEM, or more importantly, what we call STEAM, because we deal with the science, technology, arts, as well as mathematics and engineering. The grant itself will allow us to be able to expand those educational opportunities, especially project-based learning, in each one of the buildings. But part of the conditions of the grant allows us to improve our professional development offerings, not just for our staff, but for surrounding districts and a couple local community colleges. So we've been able to partner with a couple companies, corporations in the area, and colleges, as well as surrounding school districts, to provide additional STEM-based and project-based professional development opportunities.
It's always been very difficult to get districts to change into PBL. PBL is a new way of approaching that information. So often they want to take their old way and move it into PBL, and that doesn't always work. Or they think that PBL is in addition to what they're already teaching. So I walk them through the pieces and parts of what's needed in the PBL. Then we start with their standards that they're going to be teaching. They take their standards, and they've been building a project from that up.
We are very fortunate at Orange Schools to have fabulous people working with our students, and we're constantly trying to make things better and improve opportunities for them. When we heard that the Ohio Department of Education was going to offer another round for straight A grants, we knew that we had to apply for that. It just was the fiscally responsible thing for us to do, and would provide a way for us to better prepare our students for college and career readiness. When we talk with our partner from Eaton, he shared that his team, when they interview, really look for things like collaboration and critical thinking, that it's far more important than where a person goes to college or their GPA, and that those problem-solving skills are universal. They are needed across all professions, and that will continue to be true as our students go out into the workforce.
The Ohio STEM Learning Network had some money from Straight A and from the Battelle Foundation to have professors and training centers help to teach what the platform schools were learning that was going well. So I think that the thoughtful collection of people who are at the table will continue to push and continue to show up?
Yeah, it was quite a process. The Mobile Fab Lab came. We had a wonderful experience, and we found an opportunity where the Department of Education opened up another round of straight A grants, which they hadn't planned on doing. It was for innovation. And so we got a group together at Orange who wrote, with the help of a grant writer. It was lots of work to kind of develop a plan, not just for Fab Lab, but a bigger picture of bringing innovation, or not bringing, but continuing the history of innovation that has happened in Orange schools. Students will be able to make anything that they can think of and design, and they can take that idea all the way through prototyping and actually have a product. So we're going to have lots of machines, 3D printers, laser cutters, vinyl cutters, CNC milling, all kinds of woodworking machines, sewing machines, electronics stations for soldering, and all kinds of small circuitry work. So there's lots of opportunities for students to design and create anything they can think of.
We needed to print off letters, or cut out letters, from one of the 7 habits, and ours was Think Win-Win. So we programmed on the computer for the machine to cut out the words Think Win-Win on a certain sticker sheet, basically.
We're taking the concept of learning how to work within a shop and a lab and the concepts of woodworking, but applying it to their personal interests. So we're getting down to the student level right off the bat, and allowing them to create with their own interests. But another project, one recent we have, is a student made a giant American flag. We recycled pallets for it. And when you start with a pallet, each stripe was a certain size, so he had to reverse the ratio from the stripe all the way back to get the actual size of the flag. Basically, that's what he had to do, so we sat him down with one of the math instructors, and he figured it out, came down, figured out all the ratios and lengths, widths, heights, and also where all the stars had to be.
You're not just going to be sitting down reading a book or taking a test. You're going to be expected to perform, to make something, to be able to create, to think on your own and be innovative, and I think it just provides that opportunity for students. Film class is one. The 2-day intersessions that we run, I think it's there. These different international opportunities where you get to travel places, whether it's Costa Rica or Denmark or China, definitely down in robotics, computer science, AP computer science. I just hope it gives students the experience they need to be successful in their next role, whether it's a student, whether it's job, whether it's military, whatever it is. Hopefully, whatever they're learning here by doing project-based learning or getting involved with different real-world endeavors, that it's going to help them be successful in the next their next line of whatever it is, education or work.